Welcome back, YouTubers, to another NXT review with me, Mr. Parkin, on behalf of the British Fest, as I do every week. And as I do every week, there'll be things in the description box down below which you may want to check out. First of all, a link to this New Year's Day edition of NXT, and second of all, a link to Brandon Stroud's best and worst of Colin, if indeed he is doing one this week, if indeed he didn't go out and get pissed like about 95% of us did last night. I didn't. I don't drink, people, so there we go. This, in my opinion, was a show full of surprises. It was a surprise-themed show this week, and I'll tell you exactly why in the next couple of segments. The first surprise I had, personally, was the fact that after last week's monster of a match between Regal and Cesaro and how it ended and everything, I'm surprised Regal was even on commentary this week after last week's match. I thought they might want to sell, everything what Cesaro did to him, maybe have him off commentary for a couple of weeks, but it appeared that they wanted him on commentary very desperately, so they didn't do that. I just thought they would have sold his injuries or something along those lines a little bit, or have him maybe talk about it a bit more or something. I don't know. But one of the surprises this week was definitely having William Regal on commentary after what happened in the main event last week. The second thing that surprised me on this week's edition of NXT was how quickly Alexander Rusev managed to defeat Kofi Kingston, who apparently, according to the NXT commentary team, is a 10-time champion, multiple IC and US and tag team champion. When a guy like Alexander Rusev in NXT is defeating a guy like Kofi Kingston, who I guess is kind of stuck in mid-card hell, but that's not the point. He is a guy who's been on the roster and in the mid-card for a long time in WWE. If Rusev is beating him this quickly, it really does show you that WWE may have some stock in him. I thought this match would go at least 10 minutes or so, be pretty competitive, and maybe Kofi Kingston would get the win. But the fact Rusev got the win over a WWE roster guy like Kofi Kingston, like I said, shows you WWE like Alexander Rusev. And I can see why, because he's one of the only sort of bigger guys that WWE seem to have down in NXT right now. So it makes sense to try and push this guy at some point. And he made him tap out as well after about 5 minutes. Just big surprise for me. Not just Rusev winning, but winning in the fashion that he did and how quickly he did it. This backstage segment between Mason Ryan and Sylvester Lefort, I like the idea of Sylvester Lefort trying to get a new protege, etc. But can anyone else explain to me what the hell was going on between Mason Ryan and Sylvester Lefort here? Because I had no clue. I at first thought that maybe Mason Ryan was going to join with Sylvester Lefort, and then it come to nothing, and I'm just like, what was the point in this backstage segment? So this was the show. We had Emma versus Natalya for #1 contendership to Paige's NXT Women's Championship. And, I thought that Emma was already the #1 contender, but I guess the whole point of this was for her to try and prove herself. I guess that was what this was all about. And this led to my third surprise of the evening. This match was good. I mean, you expect this between Emma and Natalya. The match was good. I did enjoy the match, but I really thought the match would go a little bit longer. I thought it would be a little bit more competitive than it was. And, it made what could have been a really good match and a really good way of putting Emma over into like a sort of only a good way of putting Emma over. I just felt this match maybe could have benefited from another 2, 3, maybe 4 minutes, and it could have been really good. But in the end, Emma wins with the Emma lock with putting loads of leverage on it as well, which I like that touch there, putting loads of leverage on it. And I like the fact the commentators actually said that she out-submissioned the submission specialist Natalya, which helped put her over even more. Then you have Natalya raising her arm after the match and doing the sort of dance thing with her, which, it's all about putting over Emma. And I am just really now looking forward to seeing Paige versus Emma 2 for the NXT Women's Championship. Oh boy. Colin Cassidy versus Aiden English in a sing-off. Wow. This was a really good segment which provided me with my fourth surprise of this week's edition of NXT. And you know what? Going into this segment, I was kind of two-sided because both these guys are over in their own way. And I really didn't know how the crowd were going to react on this one or who they were going to go with, because they've been going with Aiden English on so many times he's been out there going up against jobbers, etc. But on the other hand, Colin Cassidy and Enzo Amore, especially Enzo Amore, are two very over superstars right now because of the sticks they've got. And this segment itself, I thought it was really entertaining. Aiden English did his usual stuff, as you'd expect Aiden English to do. He is a very entertaining character. But then you have Colin Cassidy come up, and he's looking all nervous and like he can't sing, and he's going, and then he can actually kind of sing, and it just made it kind of funny. And, I was thinking, man, the crowd are going to be a bit split on this. But after Colin Cassidy's really good performance, it was obvious who was going to win this segment, really. I mean, it's just one of those segments where it's like you don't expect too much from Colin Cassidy, and then he pulls out a performance like that, and it's like, I see why they did this segment now. and the whole thing about you suck. It was just a hilarious segment with singing, and I just really enjoyed it. And I like the fact at the end that you had this really entertaining segment, and then a jealous Aiden English attacks Colin Cassidy while in song, which is no doubt going to lead to them two feuding down the line, which after this, I'm very much looking forward to. It just goes to show you don't need to put on 5-star matches and, you know, have really good wrestlers in order to make an entertaining segment. This, to me, was a segment of the night. Because this, for pure entertainment value, was excellent. Or should I say, SAWFT soft. The surprises keep on coming. Tyler Breeze versus Mason Ryan. You know, Mason Ryan came out to get to no reaction, which wasn't really a surprise to me, really, let's face it. But the big surprise here was the fact that Tyler Breeze actually beat Mason Ryan, a guy who WWE have been pushing to the moon whenever they tried to on NXT, and they're having a little guy like Tyler Breeze beat him in about 1 or 2 minutes, which was mainly because of the fact that Mason Ryan went to the outside of the ring for no reason to clothesline Sylvester LaFour. I don't know why Mason Ryan needed to go to the outside to do that, but it led to Tyler Breeze winning. And I guess at this point in time, Tyler Breeze is a much more relevant character on NXT, so he definitely should be going over here. And I guess this is their way of kind of protecting Mason Ryan and making it a little bit more believable. Because if you look at it in real life, there's no way a guy like Tyler Breeze and his character could beat a guy like Mason Ryan. It just would never really happen. You know what? And after the match, part of me was expecting Adrian Neville to sort of attack Tyler Breeze on the stage. It just seemed like it was kind of primed to happen, but you know, if someone cost me a big title match a couple of weeks ago, I'd want to get at them the first opportunity I could. So I'm surprised they didn't kind of do what they did with Graves and Adrian Neville here, have some sort of attack happen on the stage. I just was a bit surprised it didn't happen. Not saying that's a bad thing, I'm just saying I'm surprised it didn't really happen. And to be honest, this segment didn't really take up too much time, but this is time that could have been used in the main event, in my opinion. We have a big 2 out of 3 falls match main event, which needed a lot of time because there's going to be 3 falls. I'm just surprised this segment wasn't saved till maybe next week, because it doesn't really have any major consequences on the show. This definitely should have been given to the main event for various reasons, in my opinion. The tag team division is really hotting up in NXT, as next week we have Hunico and Camacho versus the Ascension in a tornado match. Oh, God. Really looking forward to this. And I remember on that NXT 200 review I did, I was quite skeptical of Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards, but I said I wouldn't mind WWE signing them just to help NXT tag team division. Well, apparently Triple H doesn't want to sign the American Wolves anymore because he feels they have too many smaller guys in the company, and he's looking for guys that can main event WrestleMania in 5 to 10 years' time. Now, a lot of people are going to comment here and they say, oh, well, they didn't sign the American Wolves. Oh, that's such bullshit. What do you mean they can't main event? Come on. Are the American Wolves really ever going to be in any main event in WWE? No. So, if that's not what they're looking for, then what's the point in signing them? To be honest with you, I think TNA could do with Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards. Probably a bit more than WWE could, in my opinion. But if you're going to come on air and spout the bullshit in the comments, oh, WWE, Triple H buried them and doesn't want to sign them because he thinks that they're not very good. And, you know, just calm down. You know, sometimes in the wrestling business, bigger guys have led to be more... I know what you're going to say to me. You're going to say, you know, what about Ryback? What about Heidenreich? What about Kozlov? What about all these guys? But you look at the mega stars of the industry, like Hogan, Savage. You look at, you know, The Rock and Austin were slightly bigger guys than, let's say, a Davey Richards or an Eddie Edwards. You look at John Cena, Batista, even Triple H. They weren't like a Davey Richards or an Eddie Edwards, were they? Just trying to put that out there. But yeah, I mean, if you want to put your thoughts on the comment section below on WWE apparently not signing American Wolves, I'm not too fussed about it. You guys may be. But put it in the comment section anyway. I love a good argument. So our main event this evening was Sami Zayn versus Leo Kruger in a 2 out of 3 falls match, which was no doubt going to be the blow-off to this feud before Sami Zayn went on to feud with Bo Dallas for the NXT Championship. So I kind of knew going into this that Sami Zayn would win, and it would have made no sense for Leo Kruger to win here. So I wasn't really surprised when Sami Zayn won. I was, however, surprised that the match didn't go... I thought the match should have gone on a bit longer, personally, and I'm really surprised also there was only 2 falls. Now, I get that NXT probably wanted to put over Sami Zayn pretty big, but you also got Leo Kruger here, who you could also put over a little bit more by having him at least get a pinfall or a submission victory in this over Sami Zayn, which wouldn't have made him look weak at all because he would have won 2-1. And you know what? I'll just go through the match. The first fall was the Yuzuka kick, which was the same finish to that tag match where Sami Zayn won. And then the second fall I had a couple of problems with this. You know what? I felt the second fall really should have ended with that top rope net breaker thing that Leo Kruger done, and that should have led us on to our third fall, because in my opinion, in the second fall, there was too many kickouts for Sami Zayn. It just led to the finish feeling a little fake. You know, you got Sami Zayn, he does the John Cena out of nowhere finisher, submission finisher at that, and it's just like, you know, if this was the third fall, it may have been a little bit better, and I understand that they want to make Sami Zayn look really tough, but the problem is at some point you have to legitimize the heels. I mean, I know Sami Zayn is going to be a lot bigger than Leo Kruger, but at some point you have to legitimize the heels. And you're never going to legitimize heels by having them be on top of the match for 75% of the time, and then having, or sometimes 90% of the time in terms of John Cena, and then having the face just come out of nowhere and win. You know, at least you've had Leo Kruger at least win a match and get on top of Sami Zayn a couple of times in this feud, but this kind of finish just epitomizes WWE babyface booking. I'm getting a little bit tired of it. You know, why does he have to do an out-of-nowhere submission finisher? Why can't he just do his normal finisher and build up to it? I don't get it. I really don't. But anyway, it doesn't matter too much. Sami Zayn gets the win, as we knew he would do. I'm just surprised he won 2-0. I guess they were trying to put him over very strong in order for him to go on and probably defeat Bo Dallas, but at least give Leo Kruger a little bit of a chance. Especially now, he's not even being his Leo Kruger gimmick anymore. He's actually Adam Rose. He's playing some sort of actor gimmick or something now. I don't really look forward to seeing that one. I thought the original Leo Kruger gimmick was shit, really, and I kind of grew onto it a little bit, and I have a feeling I'm going to feel exactly the same about this next Leo Kruger gimmick. It's probably going to be just as shit, and I'm probably not going to grow into it all that much. But anyway, we'll see how that goes later on down the line. As for this week's show on NXT, I thought the show was pretty decent. I mean, there was a lot of surprises on this show. For me personally, there was 4 or 5 to 6 kind of surprising things that happened to me on this show. Not kind of stuff the casual fans would really, you know, associate with. But we had a pretty good match between Emma and Natalya. You know, a great segment sing-off between Cassidy and Aiden English. And, you know, on the whole, the main event was decent. So I'd say this was a decent to good show. I did enjoy it. There was a lot. I think there was a little bit too much on this show this week, which kind of ruined the flow. And, you know, this big main event match didn't feel as important because it didn't get as much time as I felt it deserved. But still a decent show. Leave me your thoughts on this show down in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching this review if you have, and goodbye.